GM. It is 2nd of March, 2025. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin market today. See what is what, who is who, and where is where. Starting off with the daily chart like we do. Looks like Bitcoin is trying to find a bottom here. Put in this nice lower wick here on above average volume and reclaiming our liquidity level. The daily market structure is bearish. The bands are bearish. Turn on this ribbon here. Our ribbon is currently still bullish. The lower time frames are starting to curl down. Right in here. And we are reclaiming our 200 period moving average. This was a nice test down in the area of the 50 weekly moving average, which price has respected our whole bull run so far. So it seems to be at least the bottom is in. We can come down for a retest, of course, but it does seem to be that the bottom has been found for now. We'll see if that breaks later. But on the daily chart here, the overall analysis is bearish. Let's take a look at Bitcoin on the 4-hour. Bitcoin in the 4-hour, our market structure is bearish, our bands are bearish, and our ribbon is bearish. So that puts us bearish overall on the 4-hour chart as well. Now, as I've said in the past, when the bands are wide, price doesn't like to break through it and hold. Whereas here, price has broken through it, up into it, and is now chopping around the 4-hour bands, and now the bands are back to thin again. When the bands are thin, the breaks tend to hold more. This 4-hour market structure is the level that has to break for us to flip back to bullish again. Right there, we should reclaim that level. This level right here. I'll mark that down as must reclaim. Right there. That's our previous low. So it's all in the same area. We do have some descending resistance from above in the moving averages, and our previous support that is held is now turned into resistance, the bottom of our sideways range. So the bulls have some work to do. It's not going to go straight to the moon, but what the bulls need to do is break this market structure level here, and it can pull back anywhere and start forming higher lows, and that would solidify this as the bottom. Let us look at Ethereum here. Next, Ethereum still holding our purple line that we have here, as we have resistance and then support. So right now we're stuck between our 2140 and our 2800 all important level. Price is far away from the bands, and the bands are bearish. Market structure is bearish, and the ribbon is also bearish. So on the daily, all signs point to bearish for Ethereum. We are in an area of support, so that should hold until it doesn't. Of course, it's probably going to follow Bitcoin's lead, as the rest of the market tends to do. So if this doesn't break, we can expect an eventual run back up to our 2800 level again. Of course, we do have our descending trend line here. It is an area. It could be here, it could be here, but overall, I'm not really bullish on Ethereum. Down to the 4-hour. 4-hour bands are bearish, 4-hour ribbons bearish, 4-hour market structure is bearish. So Ethereum is overall bearish. Our line here, there's our yellow line, must reclaim. Right there. Our bands on Ethereum are not as thin as they are on Bitcoin for the 4-hour chart. Right in here, where if you looked at Bitcoin, Bitcoin has reclaimed the bands and they're a lot thin. It's holding above. Ethereum is still chopping into the bands and they are still wide. Overall, Ethereum doesn't look as good as Bitcoin does. And that's reflected in our Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart here, which is bearish structure, bearish bands, bearish ribbon. It's bearish. Own Ethereum, own Bitcoin instead of Ethereum. Take a look at Solana. Solana on the daily chart. It's showing more life here than Bitcoin is. Bitcoin had that nice rejection wick there, but Solana's was a stronger close and is holding up higher. Now, it is farther below our bands, which is bearish bands, and our ribbon is still neutral here. Now, there's a little bit different things that's going on with Solana here. With their big unlock that happened yesterday, which was right here on this red candle, we've had this massive sell-off here coming into Solana's unlock, where Bitcoin had a much more gradual down before our, call it the emergency drop, or break to the lower. This here was a definite topping candle on Solana. People front running our big unlock that happened yesterday. So what happens here is up to the big boys that got their unlock. So from a daily perspective, doesn't look like it's ready to run yet. Both Ethereum and Bitcoin are closer to the bands than Solana is, but we'll see. The daily market structure has flipped bullish on Solana. So that is in comparison to Bitcoin and Ethereum, which are still bearish on their market structure. That's where it looks like this may be forming a bottom sooner. On the 4-hour, we also have bullish market structure, bearish ribbon, but the bands are even thinner than for Bitcoin. So there is a descending trend line here, red one. And we can see what Solana has in store. I am very, very curious as to whether this unlock may be a buy the news. It was a sell the rumor, buy the news event. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to go to all-time highs or anything. I'm just looking at it from a straight up trade perspective. May have some more legs in it here than Bitcoin does for a short amount of time. Now, there is some resistance above with our daily block here, breaker block, as well as some descending trend lines that price has respected in the past, respects it over and over. Same thing with the yellow one, respects it. From above, it respects it from below again. So with these trend lines, they hold until they don't. They're areas until they're not. They're just areas of interest, pretty much. So a run up into these trend lines, if Solana can keep this higher low, can break above the break of structure and the descending red trend line here, which it's steeper, so it's not as reliable. It may be a good trade on a short term up until there. Solana versus Bitcoin. Making our run, here's our big unlock day, making our run up to the bottom of our sideways range we were in. Our daily ribbon is wide. Our daily bands are wide. Both are bearish. Our structure is also bearish on Bitcoin, or rather Solana versus Bitcoin. So I would like to see this level here get reclaimed if we're going to come back into the channel and make a run back up. Now, I've pointed this out in the past. This does look a lot like what Ethereum did here, where it had a false breakdown and then a run back up into the highs, and it was in our sideways channel. So looking at Solana Bitcoin, is that same thing going to happen? Are we going to reclaim here and make a run up for the highs again? I don't know. It's on the radar. I'll just say that. So GM, it is a Sunday. So on the weekends, market action can get kind of sketchy. It does tend to pick up towards the daily open and the weekly open, which is in another 12 hours from now. So I'll definitely be watching the market around that time, see if any volatility comes in, gives us some moves that we can trade. All right, GM.